JCTV, people meeting people, making memories. Welcome back to the Lunch Table Podcast. My name is Jacey David. I call this the Lunch Table Podcast because when I was in school, the time where I can feel the most free and the most myself, where I can talk candidly amongst my friends is at the lunch table. Hence, the lunch table. I've been calling it the Lunch Table Podcast since 2018. Been working on this on and off. This is season 3, episode 10. Until I get back into the studio, we're just going live on Mondays at 10. The foundation and the basis of my show is communication, effective communication. So much to the point where I wrote an ebook called Become a Lead Star. It's the 8 guidelines for effective communication. This book is for young adolescents all the way to adults. It is for adults. It is a great resource to pull from regarding teaching your children and yourself, reinforcing those communication skills. I truly believe by employing the skills within this book, it will improve communication throughout every aspect of your life. And you can now purchase it at jctv.com. Yeah, jaceytv.com. Hard copies are coming soon. Let's talk shop. Again, empathy and communication, that is what I'm working on. I will say some things that you're not going to agree with. you may have some beliefs, and you may say some things that I don't agree with, but it does not mean that we have to disrespect one another, disown one another. But it's okay just to agree to disagree and not see someone and not see that other person's point, or agree to that other person's point, and that's totally fine. You know, we don't have to write one another off just because we don't agree. That's childish. That is emotionally immature, and that's kind of the state of society right now. People are extra sensitive regarding um, people not agreeing with them. So there's a huge difference from me not agreeing with you and me disrespecting you. There's a huge difference, and we have to get used to being able to discern the two. And my goal is to is to discern the two. When you are listening to the show, or if you are encountering me, it's truly love and curiosity. I really do want to hear from you, and I really want to hear your point of view, so I can see exactly where you are, and vice versa, and vice versa. Again, empathy, empathy, empathy. You don't have to hate one another just because you don't agree with them. JCTV LLC. I'm about to talk some shop right quick until we get into the topics. Just last month, like I said, earlier this month, yes, I made JCTV LLC legitimately. We are a company now, an official business, and moving forward, everything will move according to plan. But there are so many T's I must cross, dots I must I's I must dot. I just got my business banking account. Waiting to hear back from my to see if I was able to get my credit card, business a credit card, which is going to allow me to spend, on expenses, things that I really need throughout the month, travel, camera equipment, food, all these things that I can charge to the business. And there are so many other perks for having an LLC and having a business account. So I'm surfing and venturing through those, so I can maximize those benefits for JCTV. The goal is for 2025 to be just up and running. I have all my, again, T's crossed, I's dotted, regarding the business and moving forward in that capacity. What else do I have? All of my marketing materials for JCTV and the Lunch Table Podcast and Becoming Lead Star. I'm slowly accumulating those. 6-foot table, table cover, A-frame, retractable, and retractable sign, vertical retractable sign for both the lunch table and Becoming Lead Star. Just waiting, not waiting, just slowly putting these pieces together. I truly believe towards the end of each year, like October, end of September and October, is when you should begin revving up for the following year. October is when you should be revving up for the upcoming year, 2025. So for me, in my head, 2025 is the deadline for me to have everything up and running for JC. Well, reaching another plateau regarding how JCTV will move forward. Management, employees, live events. We're going to be back in the studio. A lot more segments on 6th Street. Just gearing things up for 2025. There will be bits and pieces of what that's going to look like from now until then. But yeah, just from now until January 1st, revving up, preparing for the move. So excited about that. So still researching all of the benefits for having a business, a legitimate business and looking to exploit those. What else we got? Yes, living. So again, I'm all about goal setting, and what I was not doing was setting short-term goals and marking off the checklist. I wrote down my long-term goals, which are broad, which is very important, but you should also break those down into short-term goals. And what I'm doing now, I'm living my life in 90-day increments. So my short-term goals are broken down in 30 days. For this next 30 days that I have coming up, I've got to get my LLC, got that. Get my business banking account, got that. Get the first batch of the Lunch Table podcast merch. I'm going to get that, which is again the A-frame, the 6-foot table, the table cover, the retractable sign, and plus the merch and whatnot. So that has to be done before November 14th. I'm also going to film the first segment of Back to the Blackboard by November 14th. What is Back to the Blackboard? I have realized that there are many individuals who, I'm just going to say it, they have a 3rd and 4th grade education. 3rd and 4th grade work. That's their mental capacity. And I don't mean kids, I mean adults. I don't believe most adults know how to multiply. I don't believe most adults know how to solve 2-step word problems. Just the other day, my buddy had a friend over, and we were having dinner, and I wanted to test this out. So again, forgive me, I'm a teacher. I teach the 4th grade, so I have all these materials. So I brought out 4th grade. I brought out 4th grade work for her to work on. 4th grade word problems, 2-step word problems, and she couldn't multiply. She was in her late 30s, and she did not know how to multiply. But you would know, the conversation was, she seemed intelligent, articulate, bright, but she couldn't multiply. She can do 3rd grade, 4th grade work. And I'm very interested. To see how many people are on the 3rd and 4th grade level. Very, very, very interested. So I will be filming those segments downtown or just out and about. But before then, I've got to get my entire setup, the marketing materials, the table, the A-frame, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm very excited to film Back to the Blackboard to see where adults are cognitively. My hypothesis is I don't believe that I'm going to say 30% of the people that I encounter can do the 3rd grade, 4th grade work. That's my hypothesis. 30% out of the adults that I engage with will be able, only 30% will be able to do the 3rd grade, 4th grade word problems. That's my hypothesis. That's this social experiment that I'm going to attack. Very excited about that. So that's also one of the things that's going to be done before November 14th. Again, I'm living my day 90 days at a time, and I break them down through 30 days. So just checklisting, knocking out items each month, and then reassess after that 90 days. I just started this, and I'm feeling movement. There's nothing more exciting than making a list and checking it off. You feel so accomplished. So that's what we got going on. Let's jump into the conversation. Sorry. Before the conversation, merch. Subscribe to the channel, Jacey TV World, to help support. We do this every Monday at 10. Also to help support the show. Again, I talked about my ebook, Become a Lead Star, the 8 Guidelines for Effective Communication. You can get that right now. It's available at jctv.com. And also a way to support the show is by going on the site and checking out some and purchasing some of our merch. One of my favorite new shirts that I have out right now is this one right here. PIMP, pain is my passport. We only can get, again, no pain, no gain. Without pain, we can't break through to new plateaus or to the other side. You got to go through some type of pain. Comfort and growth, they do not coexist. Comfortability and growth, they do not coexist. Forgive me. Comfortability and growth, they do not coexist. We have to be aware of that. We have to be aware of the fact that this is going to hurt. This is going to be a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning. I'm not going to know what to do at the beginning. It's going to be unclear at the beginning. But the more that I do this, it will clear up. I will gain more understanding. And just being aware of that early on, that gives you mental toughness. I tell my kids that, it's going growth and comfortability. They do not live together. It's going to be difficult. When I say my kids, I mean my students. I don't have any children, but my students that I teach, because the end of the day is training that mind, mental toughness. If you can discipline your disappointments, you have conquered the world. If you can discipline your disappointments, you can conquer the world. So mental toughness, perseverance, and bouncing back. Oh, and so again, you can support the show by purchasing one of those. Also, one of the new shirts that I have out, this logo for the lunch table, multiple colors. Also, this rendition of the lunch table podcast T-shirt. I think I wore that last week. And also one of my favorites, the Book of Anglo. I rebuke you, Becky. I rebuke you, Becky. And listen, I'm not saying all the Beckys are bad. It's just I went on a run. I went on a tear. And I'm ashamed. A little bit ashamed of what I've done. The preference that I chose. I did that. So I'm turning a new leaf, because it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything positive. It was all negative. It was all filth. It was nothing uplifting. So that's why I say, the Book of Anglo. I rebuke you, Becky. I rebuke you, Becky, because it was a fetish. I was engaging in those activities purely off of desire and lust, and it was a fetish. And anything, just all aspects of my life that I am desiring, that I'm wanting. I am working on checking those. Checking those. Again, being in control of your emotions, of your state, of your thoughts. And that was something that I myself, I put myself into, and then I had to battle out. So yeah, you can get the Black men, Asian men, Indian men, any man out there who is struggling with the lusting after that white girl, after that snowflake. Go ahead to JCTV and get you Book of Anglo. I rebuke you, Becky, to remind you to stay strong. Meeting people, making memories. I also got I created 2 new T-shirts. It has the new logo. You've probably seen it on some of my thumbnails if you've been watching my lives. But I have that logo, and I also have a new phrase: "Bread for the head." A new T-shirt, "Bread for the head," and actually, it's the thumbnail for this. One of the options, one of the T-shirts, is the thumbnail for this episode here. Bread for the head, bread for the head, food for thought. A pretty cool slogan and a very dope logo. So yes, that's how you can support JCTV. Let's jump into it. I want to talk about 3 things. Bad parenting. Bad parenting. Bad parenting is the foundation of the negative woes of society. Forgive me. Bad parenting Good parenting should shield the world's woes from their children, from their child. Good parenting, your job is to shield the woes of the world from your child. I'm gonna say it again. Good parenting shields the woes of the world from your child, and even more so prepares your child for the woes of the world. Not shield so much. I mean, yes, shield, because at a certain age and time period, the child needs to be shielded. There's some things that they should not, they are not ready for. All right. And it is that parent's job to discern those items and to shield their child and to prepare their child, because the world is a very, very interesting place. And it's filled with a lot of good, a lot of positivity, but also a lot of negativity, a lot of evil. And without a person who has been there before, without them being able to guide their child, guide the person that they are looking after, giving them rules, showing them the game, leading them into a positive lane. Without that individual, the child will succumb to anything, succumb to any woes, succumb to any peer pressure. They will fall for anything if they don't stand for something. So it's so key that the parents instill this. I know it's easier said than done, because what happens a lot is people get involved in a physical relationship without being ready, and then even um, a romantic relationship without being ready. In my opinion, when you engage in a relation, when you decide to get into a relationship, it's high stakes poker, in my opinion. It's like jumping out of an airplane. It's one of the most important decisions you are going to make. The time that you choose to spend with another individual is the most important decision you're going to make, especially romantically, because what can come from that are so many things, so many things that once you get involved in, you really don't see and you're not prepared for. Like kids. Kids require so much effort, so much time, so much repetition, so much practice. Kids require so much of your time. And if you are not stable, if you are not ready to, for one, sacrifice your life and your time for them, then you're not ready for them. Because that's what kids require. They require a sacrifice of your time. I'm speaking from experience. Like hindsight 2020, I'm the youngest of four. I'm looking back, and that's what my parents did. They sacrificed their time. Yes, they had their dreams that they were pursuing, but they sacrificed their time, a little bit of their time and their pursuits for us. That's parenting 101. It's a sacrifice. It's not about you anymore. It's not about you anymore when you're parenting. I'm going to say it again. It's not about you anymore. If you did not want to have that child, well, then think back about how you had that child. You chose to have sex with that man or that woman. You chose to finish in that man. I'm sorry, goodness, in that man or that woman. You chose to complete the act, man or woman. You chose to complete that act. And everybody knows, I don't care, everybody knows where babies come from. They come from, I'm sorry, like this, for lack of vocabulary, but they come from fucking. Everybody knows that. Even if you're 13, 14, 15 fucking, you know where babies come from. They come from that. And it's hard to blame the teenager. It's hard to, but It is the teenagers. It's part of the teenager's fault. It's hard to blame the individual in the early 20s, but it is their fault. It's hard to blame the mid 20s, the 30s. It's accountability. We must listen. I know the urge, man. I know the urge. So like, I'm not trying to talk and preach on this high horse, but we must be accountable and really think about our actions, especially when it comes to having sex and making babies and bringing these kids up, because it's the most important job you're ever going to have. The most important job you're ever going to have is looking after another one, whether it's your own, whether it's someone that your nephew, your niece, whomever. One of the most important jobs that we can do as an adult is to give back, is to teach the people that are coming up. That's one of the most important jobs. And how can we do that if we're not ready ourselves? Again, so I went on a tangent, but getting into a relationship and having babies is the most important decision that you're ever going to make in your life, ever you're going to make in your life. And I see too many people just diving into those. There are specific skills, and I believe specific communicative skills and requirements one must have to be able to navigate in that world, to be able to navigate in a world of relationships, and raising kids. One must have high level emotional intelligence, in ways of navigating through those waters. And those waters, they are murky. They are very murky if you don't know how to navigate through them, So I guess what I'm saying is we must be our best selves. We are what we bring all of our good and bad and ugly to the relationship. So let's best bring the best good, the best bad, and the best ugly to the relationship, instead of jumping into waters that's going to ruin the other person's life as well as yours. It's easier said than done, because when you fall for someone, when you're infatuated with someone, you want to be around them, and that's perfectly fine. But before going too deep into giving yourself to that person, know who you are first. Know who you are first. Know what you want first. Have standards, because if you know what you want, then you know what you don't want, and you will be able to avoid and discern those environments and those types of people, male or female. It's just it's so key for us to work on ourselves, personal growth, because who we are and what we project, we are affecting the world. And the best bet is to affect the world with your best self, your best avatar. And just being aware of that fact, is key. And some people even just aren't even aware of that fact. And so that's my goal is just to bring upon better communication, and just being aware of the fact that I am not ready for this situation. I'm not ready for a baby. I'm not ready for a girlfriend. I'm not ready for a fiance. I'm not ready for a wife. Why? Because I need to get myself in order. So just having that awareness, that mindset, that's step one. Then you can work on yourself. And then when you feel that you are ready, then you can pour into somebody's cup. We can't pour into someone's cup if our cup is empty. We can't pour into another person's cup if our cup is empty. Personal growth and development is so key. And working on our how we handle our disappointments, disciplining our disappointments. That's a Jim Rohn quote. Jim Rohn, discipline your disappointments. I had to think about that. I was like, what do you mean? What does that mean to discipline your disappointments? For me, it's being able to handle the lows. Being able to handle the lows, being able to handle how it feels when things don't go your way. Being able to bounce back, have the understanding and the wherewithal to to understand the fact that things won't go my way. And when they don't go my way, you know what? This is a learning opportunity. This isn't failure. This isn't, oh man, I messed up and I'm gonna be up in arms. No, 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 no. Disciplining your disappointments is looking at obstacles and seeing them as lessons and opportunities. Disciplining your disappointments are looking at obstacles and seeing them as lessons and opportunities and not failures, not anything to get bent out of shape about. It's just something, oh, no, what? This is an opportunity for me to learn. So discipline your disappointments. Again, these are all skills like once harnessed, then you can pour into somebody else's cup, you know? So that's what I have to say about bad parenting. I went on a tangent. Bad parenting all the way to relationships and communication. But yes, to go back to the parenting, it is your job, my guys. It is your job to parents, all the parents out there. It's your job to protect and shield and prepare your child from the woes of this world. You know better than them. You've been through the ringer. Whether you were good at school or not, you know it's important. So you should instill that in your child, whether you were good at it or not. Self-control, whether you were good at it or not, you know that's important. So you need to instill that in your child. Just because you don't have those, it does not mean you cannot just because you don't have those skills or you weren't good at those skills when you were earlier, does not mean you cannot teach them and instill them in your child. When you know better, you do better. What gets me, what disappoints me is because I know adults know, I know you know better. I know I know you know better, but you're not doing better. And that's such a detriment. And it all falls back on the child. And what happens is all this negativity, it falls back on this child that will soon become an adult. Now, this child that's now an adult was nurtured inappropriately, and now they're going to continue the same cycle. So that's the cycle. It's like that kid, that child, that person, this group of people, they are soon going to be adults. They're soon going to be adults, nurtured hopefully positively, but if they are nurtured negatively, if they weren't protected and shielded and guided in the right way, then they're going to be adults that are effed up, that are going to repeat the cycle. Hurt people, hurt people, hurt people, hurt people, hurt people. And it's just a vicious cycle, a vicious cycle. Now, again, some people at some point there is personal responsibility. All right. At some point, there's an age, we come to a certain point where it's like, okay, I can no longer blame my past. You can no longer blame your past on on your circumstances. At a certain point, you are an adult and you have the power to change your life. You have the power to change the decisions that you make. You have the power to change your outcome. So at some point, we can't no longer complain. But it is unfortunate to start off behind the eight ball. It is unfortunate. But at a certain point, adults, that child who's now an adult, you cannot blame your past anymore. You can't blame mama, you can't blame daddy, you can't blame the circumstance, you can't blame the situation, you can't blame the system. You can't blame that anymore at a certain point. I mean, if you won't change, you just have to make that change. But we can no longer, after a certain point, as an adult, you can no longer blame your past. You got to gird up your loins and push through. You know, it's not going to be easy, but at a certain point, we got to swallow all the bullshit and then regurgitate positivity. It is what it is. All right. Not everything is going to be perfect. Not everything is going to be perfect. It's supposed to be hard. You're supposed to be tested. And with me, I was instilled with faith. When I am tested, I don't think that it's because I did something wrong. I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I do. I'm like, damn, was it, you know what I'm saying? Is this karma? Is this karma? And then you start, you know what I'm saying, thinking about what you've done. But when I am tested, when an obstacle comes, I now, especially if I'm living right, I see that as, ooh, something is good. Something good is about to come from this. When I am living right, when I'm doing right in my heart, and then I face this obstacle that comes out of nowhere, I'm like, ah ha ha. Yes, I get mad at first a little bit, like, oh man, what is this? And then I think about it. I was like, no, 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 no. This is a test. This is a test. And how I handle this test will affect what comes in. You know, do I curse this test negatively? Do I take on this test like, oh, you know what? This is happening to me for a reason, and I will get through this. And once I get through this, I will receive my gift. Or do I get closed fist and be like, why is this happening to me? Woe is me. Woe is me. I think if we deal with it that way, we're not going to receive the gift that's on the other side of that. I'm a firm believer that how we deal with these small little situations mentally, how we deal with them physically, verbally, that small instance, that fraction of a second of how you deal with that obstacle and that woe, that affects an immediate outcome. And I failed many a tests. I know I failed many a test. I look back at it, I was like, damn, I messed that up. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have reacted that way. I shouldn't have thought that. Oh, damn, that was a test. And here's the thing, they're going to come back. He's going to test you again. He's going to test you again. He's going to test you again. He's going to give you another opportunity for that blessing. But again, it's just having the wherewithal that life is not going to be easy. There are going to be obstacles. It rains on the just and unjust alike. So we can't just be complaining, the woe is me. Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? You know what? My sister, I was talking to my sister who's fantastic, who is my, I look up to my sister. I was going through a certain cycle of my life that continued to happen. And then I talked to her, and she really, she put me straight. She said, there are things that you are doing in your life that's causing these reactions. There are certain actions that you are doing in your life that are causing the same reactions. So I really had to evaluate. What I was doing, and not to certain people, but to myself, to my spirit. What was I allowing into my spirit? What were the things that were not agreeing with my progress? Because I kept on at the end of each year for like 3-4 years, like around this time, October, November, for like a span of 3-4 years, at the end of the year is when I was being attacked by something. Like it was always a situation that was always arising at the end of the year. October, November, December, for like 3-4 years straight, like starting like 2017, October, November, December. It was like every year was like that season of woes. I was like, what? Like after like the third woe, after like the third year, I was like, what the fuck? You know? And then I called up my sister, and without saying anything, without me divulging anything about my about what I was involving myself in, it really hit home. I was like, yeah, I'm allowing things into my spirit that's affecting my physical. What you see, what you speak, what you allow into your heart, what you allow into your life, it's energy. People say energy. I call it spirits. It's a certain type of energy and spirit that uh, that repels the positive things in your life. You know, like North Poles, and South Poles. The opposite poles, they repel one another. They don't touch. They don't touch. You know, so there are certain aspects that I wanted in my life that would never come because I had this energy around me. I had this energy around me. So I was missing out on blessings. I was missing out on opportunities. I was missing out just on things um, that that could improve my status because of what I was involving myself in. Um, you may ask, what were you involving yourself in? I was drinking too much. I was watching way too much pornographic materials. And the thing is, I wasn't caring. I wasn't caring. I was like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this, and this is me. This is me. I like this, and this is me, and they ain't gonna stop. Well, okay, you can. You can think that way, young man, but your life will be affected. Listen, some people, listen, for me, I can't have any negativity in my life. If I do, it will truly it manifests itself. Because when Lord knows I know better. So when I know better, I got to do better. And when I don't do better, I do not receive any gifts at all, at all, at all. It's like walking in hard mud. Like it's when I don't live right, when I don't live right, when I fall victim to my vices, it truly affects my my day to day and my physical world. And those are things that I work on every day, you know, because I am aware of that now, you know. And when these thoughts and vices they enter into my brain, I got to fight them. I don't win all the time. I lose a good bit. I lose a good bit, but I try to win the day or just win the moment. I try to win the day and win the moment. I don't win all the time, but I'm not succumbing to it. I'm not just giving to it. There is a fight because what I again those things that I involve myself with, those energies, those spirits that I allow into my life, they do affect my physical. And if you're listening to it, they do. It's real. We live in a physical and we live in a natural and a supernatural world. This is just a capsule. What really is what we don't see. I'm a firm believer in that. And again, it rains on the just and unjust alike. So even if you are doing positive things, even if you are on the right track, listen, we live in the world, in this world, where there are positives and negatives. All right. So we must be aware as well, even if we are living right and things are going well, that it rains on the just and unjust alike. And it is a test. It is a test of your mental fortitude. Things aren't going to be all sunny. They're not going to be great. They're not going to be perfect all the time. We must be aware of that. And I believe with that awareness, we will be able to discern when or not, well, to discern when to persevere, when to push through, when to understand, oh, this is a test. This is a test. All right. Very important. Very important, because if we don't do that, if we're not aware of the fact that woes will come, obstacles will come, then we're always going to, then when they do come, we're going to complain. This is where you hear people saying, why me? Why is this just happening to me? This always happens to me. Well, if it's always happening to you, it's because you're doing something for it to happen to you. We got to take accountability of our actions. Like, why is this continuing to happen to me? If something is continuing to happening to you, it's because you are doing something to allow it. So we must become aware of our actions and what are we doing to allow these things, these energies, these spirits, to these obstacles, these situations to continue to happen to us. You know, it is your fault. It's your fault. If you become successful, your fault. You don't become successful, your fault. You get a girl pregnant, your fault. You get pregnant, your fault. You got three babies from three baby daddies, your fault. You got 3 baby mamas and 5 kids, your fault. Your situation is all fucked up. You're on child support. She got you on child support, your fault. I'm always with an abusive man, your fault. I just can't get started, your fault. I just can't find a man, your fault. I can't afford it, your fault. Where you are is because wherever you are in your life, the status, wherever you are mentally, physically, what have you, it's because of the decisions you've made up to that point. It's your fault. It's your fucking fault, not mine's, no one else's. It boils down to you. It's your fault. So when we take accountability, Jim Rome also said this: a person has finally graduated to a full adulthood when they take accountability for every aspect of their life. A person achieves true adulthood, men and women, when they take accountability for every aspect of their life, the good and the bad. The 3 baby mamas, the 3 baby daddies, the dropouts, the car wrecks, the DUIs, the batteries, the crime, the charges. You got to take accountability. You know what? I did that. And I need to pay for that. Well, I did that. And that's why I deserve that. I deserve what's coming to me because I did that. Taking accountability for the situation that you were in. Listen, there are some rarities where there's some innocent people that are locked up, and that sucks. That really, really, really sucks for the people who are innocent that are behind bars or are in trouble because of it. That's unfortunate. That's truly unfortunate. But for the most part, what happens to us, it's because of us. And also, it rains on the just and unjust alike. We just have to roll with the punches because we live in this ever-changing world where there's positive energies and negative energies, and we must be aware of that. We do not live in a utopia, all right? Life will be challenging. Life will be challenging. What else we got? I want to talk about, not last thing. It's everybody's fault. I talked about that. Communications and relations. I talked about that. Accountability. Yeah. Talked about that. I talked about a number of things. I'm not trying to be here too long. Birds of a feather flock together. Know who you are. Know what you want. Know what you will allow, and you won't fall for anything. Standards on the type of people that you will engage with. Standards on the type of people that you will have around you. Standards on the type of activities that you will engage in. Standards. Have standards. If you don't have standards, you will fall for anything. Keep prayer in your life. Prayer works. God is real. Without faith, there is no pleasing God. Without faith, there's no pleasing yourself. You know what? Here's the thing. When I say faith, people automatically think religion. But in fact, they use faith. We operate in faith every single day. Every single day we operate in faith. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. When you call an Uber, you have faith that this Uber is going to come and pick you up, forgive me, this stranger in this car that you don't know. You have faith that he's going to come to you, or she's going to come to you, and you have faith that they're going to drop you off safely to your destination. You have never met this person. You do not know their driving record. You do not know their background. But you have faith that this stranger is going to come to you and drop you off safely. You believe that that's going to happen. You have not seen it. There's no evidence of it. Maybe you've rode in Ubers before, but not this Uber. We always operate through faith. There are so many things throughout the day that we just expect to happen. It's called faith, my friends. All right. So some things require more of a stronger faith muscle than other, but we always operate through faith, which is believing and seeing without any evidence. Believing and seeing without any evidence. We all operate through faith. So when I hear individuals who don't believe in a higher up or anything, speaking of they don't have faith, they don't believe in faith, man, that's horse shit. We operate through faith every single day. Maybe not the way that you're thinking, as in I believe in a higher power, but we always operate through faith. That's how we get through our days, by believing, by expecting things to happen. Meeting people, making memories, the Lunch Table Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Again, to help support the show, go to jctv.com and get and you can purchase right now Become a Lead Star, the 8 Guidelines for Effective Communication. It is good. It is a good read for 6th graders and up. If you are a teacher or if you are a parent, it is a good resource to pull from and while teaching your kids and also reinforcing your communication skills. And also go to jctv.com to stream all of my other shows and purchase some merch. We got the Pain is My Passport. I love this one right here. The Lunch Table, the Book of Anglo, I Rebuke You, Becky, and also the 2 new shirts and also hoodies that I created. It's the logo I've got on like the, it's a logo where I got the shades on and like the Russian little hat deal. So I got that on t-shirts and hoodies. Plus I have this new phrase, bread for the head. Bread for the head. I've got that on a t-shirt and I will have that on t-shirts and I will have that on a hoodie soon. So to help support the show, continue watching, stream, and purchase some items from jctv.com. Meeting people, making memories. We out.